with Diddy because you were a bodyguard to somebody that went to some of his parties, correct?
Yes, sir. That's exactly how it happened.
And were you at a lot of these freak offs, I guess we got to call them?
So here's the thing. I only been to 3 of his events. Now, when the first part of the event is a normal socializing mixer, upscale, the who's who is there, it's normal. But when you see the guy come out with the black suit and he's collecting everyone's cell phone and then inviting them to another party, which I say it's layers to it. They're inviting you to another part of the party where everybody cannot go.
Mm.
You see, so then that's when discrepancies start to take place because my business is predicated on protecting women mostly because you know how dudes are with a lot of money, like
Yeah.
they can straddle the fence. So once ladies in the industry know, like, oh, he's got integrity, he can't be bought, stuff like that, you get booked a lot. So in one instance, I was with a lady, and she on the cover of the Gucci magazine. Beautiful lady, a real runway model. And oftentimes, when you're doing close protection work for a model, where they barely get to eat at all.
Mm.
And when they do eat, like they'll get like the nutrients out of it. They'll
Right.
chew a grape, but they won't swallow the grape.
They're trying to maintain because they're trying to maintain their figure. Yeah.
Yeah. So one glass of wine to that person, she's gonna get drunk fast.
Right.
So my job, you got to monitor those things. And a situation took place where it was a couple of us, and it's 4 of us total, 3 ladies, the principal and her 2 buddies. They sipped something and they started getting sick.
And this was the woman you were protecting. You were her security. Yes.
Yeah. So my antennas go up. It led to a confrontation because I noticed that certain people knew what was going on. And a guy told me to relax, it's normal. No, this is not normal. Y'all don't know who y'all got here today. And, it led to a confrontation. I ended up getting hit with a bottle, get stitches. A couple guys had to go to the hospital, stuff like that.
What was it? One of Diddy's bodyguards or one of his security people? Yeah.
Yeah, some people from this team.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a team. He's got a team of people. And
so now when you say that this next group of people, this layer of group, did they go to a different location or was it at the same location?
Yes. So they ended up going upstairs.
Mm.
So once because it's an open bar, first and foremost. Whatever drinks you want, usually the stuff he's contractually obligated to have normally. Any drug or narcotic you want is available. But you just start seeing groups of sex workers arrive, male, female, and you just start seeing people pairing off and start doing what they do. And if I'm at one of these events with a male and my principal is a man, I'll go wait in the car, because like, look, bro, I'm not here for the swinger party. You feel me? And then, you don't want to be the straight guy in a party where everybody else is rainbow, because when they start hitting on you, now you're the jerk. You never want to be that guy. You got to be a gentleman at all times until it's time to get vicious if necessary. So I never directly was paid by him or worked for him. I ended up at some of his events due to my employment, and yeah, man. A lot of strange things take place for sure.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you can recall, what was the worst thing or the most off-color thing that you saw happen at any one of these events?
Okay. So now when it comes to his events, the most off-color thing I saw was 1 second he's in a suit, next second he's in a towel, and he's holding hands with 2 Eastern European gentlemen. And
when you say he, that's Diddy. You mean Diddy? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and he's holding hands with these little vampire-looking guys, like they off the movie Twilight. And I knew, I said, all right, now I know what this is. I see what's going on here. You know, it's time for us to exit. You see what I'm saying? So by the grace of the good Lord, I was able to remove myself and my principal from there. But there's been times where I've been with guys and they're staying. I had a famous singer tell me one day that he prefers trans ladies because they have stronger hands and stronger jaw muscles.
Now, who told you that?
He's a singer. His name's Bobby Valentino.
Bobby Valentino. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so but we grew up, we never looked up to these type of people. We always looked up to the gangsters, bro. So like the gangster guys, my uncles and all of them, they would always say, man, be careful, man. That entertainment stuff is for sissies, stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so it's all about perspective.
Well, let me ask you this. There's been some talk that he had some drinks that were laced with something.
Laced in drinks in the hip hop, entertainment, fashion industry is a big thing.
And what do they lace it with?
Well, previously it was Ruthless. And then the onset of...
You got to forgive me, homie, but what is that? What is Ruthlin?
Ruthlin, you ever heard the term someone got roof?
Oh, yeah, Ruthlin. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Ruthlin was like the majority, but, whenever you see guys doing a lot of cocaine, scopolamine is going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And scopolamine, once you're dosed with scopolamine, a person can take you to the ATM machine. They can say, empty your ATM machine, empty your account. You're going to empty the account out, give away all your furniture. You have no control of yourself until it wears off. And it's usually permanent neurological problems that come from being dosed with scopolamine. So Ruthlin and scopolamine is something I was always leery of, for sure.
Do you know if that ever happened at a Diddy party?
So I will say this. There are a lot of people in my inbox who are on active indictments toward him who are alleging that this took place. So, recently he came under scrutiny because of liquid GHB. Now, liquid GHB in a very small amount can incapacitate you, lowers your heart rate to the point where someone may think you're asleep or dead, but you're really not. So there are people in the indictment saying that, he squirted them with baby oil and they passed out.
And and in my thinking, the only reason you would want to do that is to take advantage of somebody, whether it be sexually or any other way.
Right. And what I've grown to understand is any man who does ecstasy for longer than 2 or 3 years, they start to become a sexual deviant. This guy Combs been doing ecstasy for 20 years. And now when he was arrested with a substance called Tusi, which is ketamine, ecstasy, cocaine mixed, and is dyed to be pink.
Yes.
So
that's the pink cocaine that now everybody's talking about.
Right. He was arrested with this while being under federal indictment and being monitored. So that goes to show that there's definitely addiction involved, and there's definitely a drug aspect involved as well.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever hear of cyan being mixed in any of these drinks?
Now, see, whenever people mention cyan, I get uncomfortable because over a period of 6 years, I had pneumonia 3 times, right? So on the final time, my mom takes me to the hospital. They get a toxicology report done. I test positive for cyanide. The way cyanide metabolizes in the human body is after a certain amount of dosages, it turns into pneumonia. Kim Porter, his ex-wife, died from pneumonia.
I heard that.
his ex-bodyguard recently, a few months ago, just died from pneumonia. And when I first started speaking out about this, there were no podcasts. It's like 2013. There are no podcasts. Social media is really just starting to get ingrained in society. So people told me I was crazy, said I was a hater, but I work hand in hand with law enforcement in my career path, and they tested my car. My car handles tested positive for cyanide. So I don't think a person will use cyanide directly at a party, but cyanide is around. I tested positive for it. I got my toxicology report to this day. So.
And let me ask you, why would you put cyanide in somebody's drink? What kind of behavior would that cause you to, to be?
Yeah, so you feel like you got the flu. You feel sick. You want to isolate yourself from everyone, and your lungs, you coughing up mucus. Like throughout history, cyanide poison was a way people got away with murder before the onset of better technology for testing for certain toxins and stuff like that. Because cyanide used to be in rat poison, so there's all type of cold case files. This person, she poisoned her husband over a series of weeks with rat poison. He died from pneumonia. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't invent or embellish. I'm only gonna speak on things I can verify to be facts. And I definitely tested positive for the cyanide, and I had pneumonia 3 times. I basically got one lung now because of it.
Really? So, but this didn't occur at a party for you. I mean, you didn't take a drink at one of Diddy's parties, and maybe the cyanide was in one of those drinks.
No, see, because I have been privy to certain things. So, it's footage of me with a bottle of champagne in my hand that I brought with me while I'm with models and stuff like that. Because, it's a scary feeling, bro. Like when you can look at somebody and tell they've been compromised and you can't really explain why. So once me and my team had experienced roofing on our own, we said we can never let this happen again. So we invented some new protocols. If a bottle get brought to a section, if it's opened already, you gotta send it back. We would travel with a portable test kit with us. All type of, if people are paying you to protect their life, you got to use every tool that's available to you.
Well, again, without making any definite allegations or pointing fingers, it makes you think why, Kim Porter would have died of pneumonia when Diddy is putting everything else in drinks. I'm not saying he did it. We don't know that. But it raises eyebrows. You gotta kind of think about it, Why did that happen? And she was relatively young, Kim. I mean, she was a young girl. It's not normal that you die of pneumonia at that age.
Just not normal. Just not normal. And some of the other substances that we mentioned, people will still start partying off of that. Cyanide touch you, you don't want to party.
Yeah.
So you almost get a feeling like, man, something's wrong here. But you're not gonna think that somebody's poisoning. You're not gonna think that,
Right.
But it definitely happened to me. So, and like in the work that I do to combat human trafficking, I've had bounties on my life. I've had the FBI showing up telling me, yeah, we got information. By law they got to tell you.
Right.
Had those situations. So you just kind of get accustomed that you know what you signed up for. So you just try to take as many steps possible to mitigate risk and hope for the best. Be vigilant.
Let me ask you this. Suge was quite outspoken. He gave me names. He said that he mentioned Obama. He said Obama and Diddy were close friends. He even indicated they had a sexual relationship together. Obviously he spoke about Justin Bieber and and Usher and all that. Is there anybody that you know that you feel you can talk about that was at these parties or affected by anything?
Well, so I am aware that Leonardo DiCaprio has he's having a lawsuit come up against the Busby lawyer because so right now what's happening is so when they initially raided Combs' home, they did not inform the raiding officers whose home they were going to raid.
Hmm. I didn't
So
know that.
right, so that right there goes to show like all right now this guy have a lot of reach. He could be somebody that's been cooperating previously. So once they got their hands on that footage, there've been laws passed for revenge porn and stuff like that. You can't sell someone's tape without them approving it. So, you know, from my sources, some other close protection operatives, there are a lot of A-list stars right now who are doing what they can to prevent certain footage from coming out. One thing Suge Knight said that I can confirm to actually be facts because I know this gentleman's part of his security team. Yeah, that they came to Ben Affleck and they said, your wife's on these tapes. So that's something I can confirm to be facts.
Jennifer Lopez.
For sure, I can confirm that.
On the tapes, meaning that you mean maybe videotapes, footage, whatever it is they confiscated there?
Yeah, because whenever I meet people like Combs, like they like to keep trophies. They like to keep memorabilia from these escapades. And, this is something that's a lot more common than people think amongst elite parts of society. Because, once a rich guy realizes that, wait a second, no one's going to tell me no, depending on how you're raised and your moral compass and what you believe in, I've seen a lot of guys get off the handle. And I've seen Combs scream, say, I'm a savage. If I want it, I'm going to have it. I don't accept no for an answer. That let me know what I need to know because, I've done security for certain guys and, you show up to their house unannounced and he's in a mascot outfit in the floor with somebody else in a big teddy bear outfit and they dry him in the floor. They call themselves furries.
Mm.
You'll see a millionaire guy, he gets off by having in a furry costume. So you just never know what people are into.
Yeah.
This guy revealed what he's into.
When you say Leonardo DiCaprio, he's got a lawsuit against BuzzFeed because of something that they said with him regarding Diddy?
Yeah, so the guy Busby referenced that he had stills of a sexual encounter between Combs and an A-list celebrity with a much higher status than Combs.
Mm.
So it's... Yeah.
I got you. Let me ask you this. Heard something about Jamie Foxx possibly being involved with Diddy and on the wrong side of it. You know anything about that?
So, bro, I seen Foxx with Combs on several occasions at different events. Now, Jamie Foxx's family are the ones who reported Diddy to the FBI when Jamie Foxx went into the coma initially.
Really?
So that's how that all came about. His daughter Corinne and his mom were the ones who did that. And when people come and they ask Jamie on the street, he doesn't deny it.
Mm.
So, at the end of his comedy special on Netflix, at the live taping, he said out of his mouth that Combs is the person who poisoned them and put them in a coma. He said, I asked my partner for an Advil. He handed me the Advil. I woke up 22 days later.
Yeah.
Now, if you somebody knowing that, look, I got an indictment pending, I might need to start cleaning up my surroundings. You know how that go.
Yeah. And let me ask you this: what would be the purpose? And this I've heard many times that um, Diddy had people sign NDAs when they came into the party. Which, if there was criminal activity going on, the NDA doesn't mean anything. Um, and Diddy should have known that. But what do you think his purpose in that was? Just to try to get into people's head that you can't talk about this, or?
Well, Michael, I'll tell you, non-disclosure agreements at celebrity who's parties is something that's taking place on a daily basis. Been taking place like that for years. Simply because I know for a fact that in Combs's NDA, you can't say anything about what you've seen or partook in at the party until 20 years after he's dead. And so, like, how do you get somebody to do a big favor for you?
Yeah.
Invite them over, show them the time of their life. You got them on camera doing something they're not supposed to do.
Right.
You put that call in for that favor. Hey, buddy, remember that day I really need to get this person right here signed to this person. Or I really need to get this person to stop speaking on that radio channel about me negatively. That's how it happened.
Hmm. Let me ask you. One of the questions I had is, how does this go on for 20 some odd years? And the reason I say that, maybe there's a little, I don't want to say resentment, that's not the right word, but in my former life, the FBI was on us 24/7. We were like, I was indicted 7 times. I was arrested 18 times. I went to trial 5 times. I had 2 federal racketeering cases, 1 state. They were on me constantly. And look, I was a criminal. I was doing what I was doing, but I wasn't doing these kind of parties or anything like that. What I'm saying is, how does this go unnoticed or unbothered, I would say, for 20 years? So my first reaction is, this guy must be an informant. He must be doing something with the government. Just as my thought, I have nothing to back that up, until Suge said to me that Diddy's been an informant for years.
Right.
What's your thought on that?
Okay, so my thoughts on this is this. In your situation, you were making millions. And they couldn't really prove that you was doing it illegally. Right. So they were out to prove that you were doing it illegally.
You're exactly right.
With Combs, they know how he's making his millions. So it's like, okay, we're not going to be able to go after him for taxes. We're not going to be able to go after him for operating a criminal syndicate that's doing racketeering as the source of income. And then you're operating in a network of people where, he was the middleman. He's the party guy for the guys who really got the money. Because none of these problems started for him until he went after the liquor company that owned Ciroc. We all thought he was part owner of Ciroc.
Mm-hmm.
The moment he won that lawsuit, shortly after that, he sold Revolt TV. Revolt TV was his baby. It's his own network. He worked hard on that. So when I saw he sold that to his buddy, I'm like, all right now. Word just came down. They coming after him. Because you got those big corporations, you got 5 or 6, you probably got 2 billionaires, a couple hundred millionaires on the board of directors. On Combs' board of directors, it's just him. Nobody on his board of directors is going to be a real affluence to the point where, they can really go and donate to a presidential campaign or something like that. So, Combs felt like he was bigger than the program. And once he demonstrated certain activities, it led to his demise because, the human trafficking division in the United States is a small group.
Yeah.
So that's why after Combs went down, you seen the guy Reeves from Abercrombie. You see what happens down by Disneyland They working hand in hand with other groups of law enforcement to combat this. It's $11 billion a year industry.
Yeah.
People want to blame the majority of it on the 5% of celebrity culture. That's not the majority that's making the purchases. You can sell a kilo one time, you can sell a kid 100 times. So, once they was able to see that he violated interstate commerce laws by flying underage people on planes for sex and stuff like that, that's what led to his demise. And then once he was off the street, people feel safe now. He's a dangerous person. He's not a pushover. His name's associated with murders, various assaults, explosives in someone's vehicle. Feds say they got him actively while under indictment, calling witnesses, trying to get them to change their story. They told him, you can stay on the street as long as you're not calling witnesses and your private jet is in 2 different states. This guy standing on the street with a sucker.
Yeah.
And a group of young girls, they're excited to see him. Then that plane came to New York. They picked him up. They picked him up immediately.
I mean, you think he's going to stand up in all of this? You think he's going to cooperate? You think he's going to give up some of these big names? Yeah. Hey, listen, I'll tell you this, homie. I was in the exact same prison on the same, it should be a jail rather. I was in the jail where Epstein was. I was on that tier. I was in those cells. There's no way in my mind that you're going to commit suicide. No way. You can't do it. They're watching that tier all the time. The cameras are on. For everything to go off at one time, it would still be hard for him to commit suicide because there's nothing there. There's nothing on the ceiling. The bed is this high. You couldn't do it. So my point is, I think they got rid of Epstein. I'll swear to that. I don't know what's going to happen with Diddy.
It's listed in the Epstein investigation that on the day that he died, the cameras were not working on that tier.
Right.
You know what that means.
Absolutely.
And I don't feel like the average American understands how cheap the price of life is now. Combs, they said that 1,000 bottles of baby oil, allegedly some of the bottles tested positive for liquid GHB. So if we do the math on that, 1,000 bottles, 8 ounces, what's that, 54 pounds of GHB?
Mm-hmm.
Mandatory life sentence.
Right.
$58 million bail package denied.
Mm-hmm.
All of the prosecutors on that case are women. We also seen the mayor, Eric, get indicted.
Right.
FBI was trying to save face before the election to not get disbanded. So they did what they did, racked up some big cases, locked some people up. Combs is going to have to give up people if he ever wants to see the light of day again. He's facing several life sentences. And he don't have murders he can give up. But if he does, he will. So January 20 was a trial start May 25th?
Yeah.
We're going to see some interesting things start to take place before then. Did you see they come in, season his notes? He get a little win in court. They got to destroy the notes they took.
Yeah.
He wants to change his jail because he knows he can get Epstein in there.
Yeah, my thinking is he either disappears, meaning some kind of accidental death, number one. Number two, he cooperates and gives up somebody that law enforcement might think is more important than him, or he goes to jail forever. I mean, it's going to be, I don't see him standing up. Let's put it this way.
I don't see that either, because why would you as a billionaire need automatic rifles with defaced serial numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you need that? You're doing things you're not supposed to be doing. And I feel like there is another criminal drug dealing element that they working on, because when they first stopped his plane, they arrested his mule. And then when they arrest you again, you still got drugs on you. You operate, that's operating like somebody who's been cooperating.
Yeah. So Suge saying that he's been cooperating is not too far off in your opinion.
Not too far off at all. Not too far off at all, because Keefe D is in Las Vegas, is in Clark County right now, and he's saying Diddy the one paid us to kill Tupac.
Really? Yeah, he did say that, yeah.
Saying that, you know, allegedly the feds have a list of people that he's responsible for their demise.
Mm-hmm.
They also said they have him on camera at his residence assaulting a male sex worker. How out of control are you? You paid this person to come here to have sex. You got a...
Yeah.
I know a dude, bro, personally, who he said he's out to eat with Combs, his sons, and some other people. And the topic came up, how much money would it cost for you to suck a penis? He said, man, I need at least 100,000. He said to me, he said, Combs said 100,000? Right now, you would do it. And he said, man, I was just playing. But he said Combs wasn't playing.
Guy's a deviant without a doubt.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know, it's amazing. As much as I've seen and been through in my life and witnessed, I don't understand how somebody gets this crazy and out of control.
I'm telling you, it's the ecstasy.
Gotta be.
Brother, I promise you. I distinctly remember what the streets of Chicago were like before everyone was taking ecstasy on the weekend. Then it went to now people using this as a daily habit. Guys I thought were upstanding was getting caught with trans people.
Mm.
I seen this firsthand. I remember what the streets was like before the internet. I remember before the pills became a thing. It definitely played a role for sure. And like, you know, and I always say this, like a man who's not raised with like some sort of gangster principles, only thing he really has to believe in is his wants and needs. You know, being in your position, being in my position, when you want to form a leadership, you know, there's certain things you know you can't do. Because, you know, they call me big homie. You gotta earn that. So, you know, I can't be doing the same thing the little homies is doing.
Right.
When they in the living room talking to the females, I'm in the room with the door closed, because then now the lines get blurred now.
Mm-hmm.
Are you one of us or are you our leader? That's why when you see Combs, the people that's coming after him was always, everyone's younger than him. There's nobody older than him. The people who could have really combated him have died under strange circumstances. You know, this is the only industry we see where people have interns. They'll come work for years for free for the thought of having a big career. You're not gonna be an intern at Walmart.
Yeah.
It's all about taking advantage of people. That's why I've been going back and forth with these people for years, man.
Let me ask you, change your gears a little bit. R. Kelly, you grew up with him, right?
Grew up around him for sure.
Yeah. What kind of guy? He's got his hands full now, for sure.
Now listen, I swear on my mother, I never liked this dude. The people in my family at my church, they would say, why are they bringing this pedophile in here? They were saying this years ago. You know, I know dudes who took their daughter to him for voice lessons. He go pick his daughter up. He got $50,000 cash with him now. That's the thing, bro. Like these people all were getting enabled in different areas. You know, like in my family, people knew. When they come to my little cousins, my aunties, and them, like, man, like, it's gonna be heinous consequences for you if you decide that you want to try to oppress any of these people right here. These guys, they hiring security, they feel invincible. You know, just like I know that in certain organizations, there are rules. And I heard you say something before that you say they'll never get me in a room again. These guys don't have that. Nobody can call them into a room
Mm-hmm.
and it could be graveyard consequences. They don't have that.
Yeah.
Now operate underneath that, and they got unlimited money, and everybody want to be a celebrity.
Yeah. The problem, homie, they're not accountable to anybody but themselves. And
That's a big problem.
And accountability, as you know, is very important in life. You have to have accountability, whether it be to your faith, your boss, yourself.
Right.
Without it, there's no rules, and eventually you're going to go down. You're going to get in trouble for it, and that's what happened. I think Diddy the same thing. He was accountable to nobody. At least he thought he wasn't, until it catches up with you.
Until it's just too late.
Yeah.
And you know, Dapper Dan said that he grew up with Combs' parents. And he said what's going on with Combs didn't start with Combs, it started with his parents.
Really?
So that's what Dapper Dan said. So got to keep all these things in mind, man. Like I never harmed nobody who didn't deserve it. You know, I stand by that. You know, people coming out saying that he ruined their life. As men, we can choose our actions, but we cannot choose our consequences.
So right.